Hell in a Cell is coming this Sunday night. Los Angeles, California, be forewarned. Hell is about to take over your neck of the woods. And you're not going to be ready. Because at Hell in a Cell, all bets are off. Because it's going to be a very destructive night. Not even the National Guard can help Los Angeles this Sunday night. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final We Love It Raw before Hell in a Cell. And I kick this week's episode off with a bang. Yes, with a bang. We start this episode with a current Hall of Famer, Shawn Michaels, the man who stole everything from the shows at WrestleMania to the heartbreaking of many women in his career. I want you now to take a listen to what Shawn has to say about Hell in a Cell and his experience inside Hell in a Cell.
Clearly is upon us. Now, I want you all to know, I have been in a cage, and I'm not proud of it, but I'll admit I've also been in a cell. Now, it was when I was younger, but been in a cage, been in a cell, but both pale in comparison to being inside hell in a cell. Now, some of you may not know this, but many years ago, I was in the first ever Hell in a Cell. Now, because I've been hitting the head a lot, I can't remember who I was in there with. But, okay, it was The Undertaker, yes. The amazing thing is, 18 years later, this Sunday, The Undertaker is going to step back inside Hell in a Cell. And he's going to do it against Brock Lesnar.
So those remarks by Shawn Michaels tells the entire story. That Hell in a Cell is a demonic, destructive structure that will lay victim to either The Undertaker or Brock Lesnar come Sunday night. And you heard it from the man who knows all about it, Shawn Michaels. And that is how we got underway. And we're going to now talk more about getting you ready for Hell in a Cell. And we're going to start with the WWE Tag Team Championship. The Dudley Boys against the New Day. And this all started the night after SummerSlam, Brooklyn's Barclays Center, where the Dudleys made a triumphant return to WWE and set their sights immediately on the WWE Tag Titles. So let me take you now down the road to Night of Champions. The Dudley Boys' first title opportunity in over a decade. And it comes against the current champions, the New Day. Result, New Day beats the Dudleys. New beats old. Down the line, October 3rd, New York's Madison Square Garden. Dudley's New Day, Part 2. Result, Dudley's win by DQ, thus not claiming WWE Tag Gold. Fast forward to this Sunday night at Hell in a Cell. While it's not in a cell, and it's not a tables match, it is a WWE Tag Team title match, and it's the Dudleys and the New Day. The final chapter will be written. Who will take home the gold? Will it be the Dudleys for the 10th time? Or will it be the New Day proclaiming their stakes high in the tag team division in the WWE? So that's going to be interesting to watch. What's also going to be interesting to watch is now the Divas situation, with Charlotte going against Nikki Bella, who was the longest reigning Divas champion in the modern day of WWE. And one has to now wonder, what role is Paige going to play in this match on Sunday? Now remember, Paige wanted this Divas Revolution to start way back in early August. So she got her wish. She got Becky and Charlotte and Sasha Banks. But as the months went on and on and on, and after Night of Champions, Paige started to get, I don't know if jealous would be a little misconstruing on this part. She got a little, I would say, irritated at the fact that she, Paige, wasn't the one going against Nikki Bella for the Divas title. And it's interesting and it's funny that I brought it up that way, because after Night of Champions, Paige just started acting differently. She acted weird. She acted a little misconstrued, as you may say. She started to align herself on her own. And it caught the eye of Natalya, Charlotte, and now Becky. Because now many are probably wondering amongst the Divas, is Paige trustworthy? Or are we seeing yet again what we saw back when Paige made her debut the night after WrestleMania when AJ was Divas champion? The two-sided psychopathic Paige. Are we seeing that again? One has to think yes, one has to think no, one has to be dead down the middle. So it's very complicated and very hard to say. I say we're seeing the two-sided psychopathic Paige yet again that we saw the night she made her debut. But you're also starting to see now a more meaner side of Paige, what we saw on Monday Night Raw last night. Now, what am I saying? Now, let me take you this. Paige and Renee Young had a backstage interview on Raw last night, and it got really, 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 really heated because Paige didn't like the questions that Renee was asking. Renee was going hard into Paige, okay? Hard. Renee was asking her all the questions, and I could see it in Paige's eyes that Paige wanted to smack Renee. I was looking for an impromptu match. And I thought it was going to happen, but, it didn't. But here's what I see coming down towards Sunday night. During the match with Charlotte and Nikki, Paige is going to be down there. Now, you're probably going to think, is Paige going to help the Bellas? Or is Paige going to help her so-called friends of PCB, now NBC, or if you want to now go into detailed wording now, NPCB. So, The situation as I see it happening on Sunday is as follows. I see Paige interfering in the match. Renee Young comes down during the match and slaps Paige silly. Those two are going to get into a fight. You're going to see an impromptu match at Hell in a Cell between Paige and Renee Young. Paige will lose to Renee Young, and it's going to be a feud that's going to start to boil into Survivor Series. Or the other situation that you might see at Hell in a Cell is, as Charlotte and Nikki are fighting, Paige comes down, helps Charlotte retain the Divas title, then attacks Charlotte to lay her claim for the Divas title. So either way, you're going to see one of the two happen. So that's something to really watch out for. What else you're going to watch out for, and it's going to be duly noted, is where is Summer Rae going to lie at the pre-show at Hell in a Cell when Ziggler and Rusev fight? Now, for a while, Summer Rae has aligned herself with Rusev after Lana sided herself with Ziggler. Fast forward to last week, the news broke that Rusev and Lana were engaged. Summer slapped Rusev silly and walked away. Tried to make the move to Ziggler on Thursday night. Ziggler said, "No, I'm not interested into your games." So now one's probably going to think, where is Summer Rae, the vixen of all this, going to lie? Is she going to align herself back with Rusev? Even though she claims that they're no longer, quote-unquote, a couple? Or is Summer Rae going to find a way to win the eyes and the heart of Dolph Ziggler, where I think she's going to construe Ziggler into turning into a heel yet again? Something to really watch out for on the pre-show at Hell in a Cell Sunday. But now that I got the minor stuff out of the way, let's get into the bigger matches taking place at Hell in a Cell. And I'm going to start with the Intercontinental title. Ryback and Kevin Owens. The rivalry is going to come to a boil. Both hate each other. Both have one victory against each other. Both are trying to play mind games with each other. And one's trying to one-up one another. So the predictions that I'm seeing for Sunday is Ryback will win the Intercontinental title. Kevin Owens will be brought back down to NXT for the development, and then come back and then get the shot at the WWE title. So in order for that to happen, Kevin Owens is going to have to lose his IC title, and it will happen on Sunday to Ryback. Now, for the fun part of Hell in a Cell coming up. The ongoing saga, rivalry, dispute, feud, animosity, tension, whatever you want to call it, between Bray and Reigns. And this match is going to be constructed inside the cell. And what better way to end this month-long rivalry that dated back to Money in the Bank, when Reigns was about to be the Money in the Bank briefcase holder and be a future WWE champion. Bray said no, anyone but you, and this is how it all started. Family games were played, mind games were played, words were said, fights were brewed, fits were flying all over the place. So on Raw last night, Bray and Roman had a little bit of a sit-down talk about what's going to happen at Hell in a Cell on Sunday night. But that lasted very shortly, because Bray attacked Roman then attacked Bray, who went after Strowman, who then went after a returning Eric Rowan. Then the numbers games took over Roman Reigns. Ambrose comes in, saves the day, and lays waste to the Wyatts, which then led to an interesting, eye-popping moment on Raw. It was supposed to be a tag team 6-man match. The Wyatts, Bray, Braun, and Eric against Ambrose, Orton, and Reigns. But the news broke that Orton, quote-unquote, was attacked by the Wyatts. So, that's speculation right there. So, Reigns and Ambrose had to find a partner. And what you're about to hear is no lie. Seth Rollins teamed up with his former Shield brethren. But it was short. Seth played games. Left them hanging high and dry. Claimed knee injury during the match. Left Ambrose and Reigns to hang against the Wyatts. But Ambrose caused a disqualification. And then Reigns and Ambrose laid waste to the Wyatts. And that could be a sign of things to come between Reigns and Bray inside Hell in a Cell. And last, but not least, ladies and gentlemen, the coup de grace of the all. The main event of Hell in a Cell. The Undertaker and Bray Wyatt. And to close this episode of We Love It Raw off, I want you to take a listen to both The Undertaker and Paul Heyman about what they want to do to each other as we approach Hell in a Cell. And this is not for the faint of heart. So first you're going to hear The Undertaker, and then you're going to hear the Beast, Brock Lesnar. Please enjoy.
Brock Lesnar. We have one last battle to fight. And listen when I say this, son. The depths of hell will look like the gates to heaven compared to where I'm going to take you this Sunday. At Hell in a Cell.
Here comes the Beast. Now you're going to hear Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman's rebuttal to what The Undertaker just said about what The Undertaker is going to do to Brock Lesnar at Hell in a Cell this Sunday.
Ladies and deadman, my name is Paul Heyman, and I am the advocate for the Beast who shall be unleashed this Sunday inside Hell in a Cell. Brock Lesnar! My client and I were just talking about how fitting it is. This Sunday, both combatants enter Hell in a Cell consumed with the thought of revenge. My client, Brock Lesnar, wants to avenge that disputed, disgusting, tainted, illegitimate victory you scored over him at SummerSlam. But you, Undertaker, you don't just want revenge. You don't just need revenge. You don't just crave revenge. Undertaker, you lust after the notion of avenging the fact that my client, Brock Lesnar, conquered your undefeated streak at WrestleMania.
Fighting words by Heyman.
This Sunday at Hell in a Cell, when the two of you fight for the very last time, my client, Brock Lesnar, will take his revenge upon thee, and then, Undertaker, you are going to be forced, compelled to learn what it's like to live or die with a tainted legacy, a legacy of dominance, dominant over everybody else, everyone except the conqueror that took everything away from you, Brock Lesnar.
Now the Undertaker.
That's where your problem is. Because when you take everything from a man, when you take everything from a man, then that man ends up fighting with nothing to lose.
And with that word right there, fight with nothing to lose, we all thought we were going to see Hell in a Cell early. And Brock made his way to the ring, poised, ready for a fight to the depths of hell. And just when we thought it was going to happen, it didn't. These two, The Undertaker and Brock, they want to save themselves for Sunday night inside the most demonic structure ever to lay ground in the WWE. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, this closes the final We Love It Raw before Hell in a Cell. And I want to hear your predictions. Comment on our Facebook page. Comment on our YouTube page. I want to hear what you think is going to happen with all the matches that I talked about at Hell in a Cell. And we will talk about it as we do a review Tuesday night for Raw and Hell in a Cell. But now that Raw is over, and we ended it with the words of The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar, I bring to you now the Stone Cold Podcast. And this, I thought, was going to be explicitive and vulgar, but it turned out to be kind of interesting, as you may want to think about it. These two, Austin and Brock, have a lot in common. Both like a lot of country music. Both really like cars. Both have had a storied career in the WWE, while Brock took his career to the next level with the UFC and the NFL, and then back to WWE. But Austin and Brock both have one thing in common: a career defined by championship glory. And not many people in the WWE can go with that. Championship glory. And it was kind of fitting to hear what Brock Lesnar said about, his first win in the WWE, his first title reign in the WWE, to him giving the bird to Vince McMahon after his match with Goldberg at the Garden at WrestleMania 20, to his experience, like I said, in the Octagon with Dana White, and Randy Couture, to his departure from UFC back to WWE, leaving WWE, then coming back again to WWE, headlining WrestleMania, almost beating Roman Reigns to become WWE champion, but getting screwed over by Seth Rollins, to his epic confrontations with The Undertaker, who he mentioned, by the way, that these two, Brock and The Undertaker, have a personal, heated animosity toward one another. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, ladies and gentlemen, that it dated back to the days where Undertaker watched UFC when Brock was there, and those two set their eyes and locked it on each other. And I think there was an altercation at that event. So correct me if I'm wrong. Quote me if I'm wrong. Comment if I was wrong as well. I think I am wrong, but I might be right. But it was good to hear that Brock brought up the animosity. He says he's over it, but he's not going to be over it until after Sunday night. So he said that to Steve Austin. But note on the podcast that Brock never mentioned one thing. He wanted to fight Stone Cold. Because Brock says this: his career is coming to an end, even though he thinks he has a lot left to give to the fans and to himself and to WWE, but his contract is about to expire. So, a fitting way, I think, could happen for both is to have them fight. Now, it's going to be in Dallas. It's going to be in Austin's home state. Have those two go at it. Okay, it's not going to mean anything. But if Brock wants to go out with a guns a-blazing, fists a-flying, and a career that was dominated by excellence, and yet some controversy, go up against Stone Cold Steve Austin. Give the fans what they want. I want to see it. You all want to see it. Vince wants to see it. So give it to us, Brock. Give us a match against Austin. You didn't mention it on the podcast, but give it to us. Also on the podcast, Brock talked about his time with Randy Orton, Mr. Perfect, Batista, the Von Erichs, and everybody else that he grew up in WWE, and how he progressed in WWE. Basically saying that the podcast was a in-depth life analysis of what Brock has been through in his career and in his life. It's really compelling, really interesting. I suggest you watch it on the WWE Network. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, hell have no fury of that. Destruction will rise. Bodies will be laid. And new chapters will be written. Because at Hell in a Cell, you never know what you're going to get. I am the boss. signing off. We'll see you Tuesday night for the Hell in a Cell Raw Review Show.